23. M45A1. Hi, this is Misha, and we just decided to take my crew-served pistol out. Now, I am not an H&K expert or even a particularly SOCOM historian, so I'm not going to go into that. I'll leave this to others, but it's a gun I've had for a while. This is my H&K MK23. Yeah, this is just a civilian one, but the price was right. These were always pretty expensive, but a few years ago, about 6, 7, 8 years ago, for whatever reason, the price kind of dipped on these brand new to around 14, which is as good as it's ever been. They used to be over 2,000. And I don't own many 45s, which is honestly why we don't shoot this too frequently, just because I don't have a lot of other guns to take out for that caliber. But we felt like it, so we thought we'd bring it out and then talk a little bit about it, because it's a very bizarre, interesting pistol. I don't normally go for modern tactical guns. This one's kind of an anomaly in my collection. First off, this is of course a fake suppressor. I don't have a Knights. I need to get a suppressor for it though. It's one of the things that needs to be done. As most of you know, this is a single, double action, 45 ACP. It operates using the Browning tilting barrel system, the modified version that we see pretty much in most modern handguns. It has an ambidextrous safety. It's 1911 style, that it cannot be activated unless the weapon is cocked. It has a decocker. But it's large but very flat. It's not the most comfortable in the world, and it's only on the left side, as is the slide release control, which is actually quite large and easy to use. Large is the name of the game with this pistol. With a suppressor, it's over 16 inches long. Without a suppressor, we are a little under 10 inches, about 9.6, 9.7. Unloaded, this is a little under 3 pounds. Loaded, it's a little over 3 pounds, and that's just the pistol. Add the suppressor and the laser aiming module, which mounts on these rails under the barrel and is fastened here, and you're at about 5 pounds. So not at all light. It has ambidextrous paddle style mag release with the 12 round double stack mag. Slide and barrel or steel. Barrel has polygonal rifling. It also has this rubber O-ring. It's a very overbuilt gun. It was designed for US SOCOM. Get this apart, guys. I never like these slide style takedowns. I like the Glock style better myself. But yeah, this was developed for SOCOM as a so-called offensive pistol. Work began in the early 90s. At H&K, Germany. They wanted an extremely robust gun firing 45. Colt submitted a highly modified 1911 to the program, but it just could not handle, especially the hot 45 that SOCOM was hoping to use. So the H&K, being extremely overbuilt, was pretty quickly seen as the winner and was put in for further development and was developed through the mid-90s. It was finally ready by '96, and the first pistols were delivered in May of that year to US SOCOM. Here's the barrel. Like I said, it has polygonal rifling, chrome lined. It's just under 6 inches long. It has an extremely high service life, at least 20,000 rounds. This is the mainspring. As you see, it and the rod are also very big and overbuilt. This really will basically never need replacing. Here's the slide. Steel. No shortcuts there. And here's our frame. It is polymer, but it is metal reinforced. All the components you see inside are very big, chunky. Trigger is metal. Hammer is coated metal. We do have the ability to attach a lanyard at the base here. Just an all-around big, heavy pistol. And I think it's kind of lovingly derided because of how big and heavy it is. And for SOCOM, it did what they wanted. But these have been available on the civilian market since '96 as well. The very first guns were marked as Mark 23, like the military, but excuse me, MK23. But very soon they would go to marking them as Mark 23 to kind of distinguish. And there have been more variations with the civilian gun than the military, just because they can. Militaries have specifications and you have to adhere to them. SOCOM has been taking deliveries for a number of years. They kind of stopped in the late '90s when things were relatively peaceful. But after the so-called war on terror really got started, they started to take more guns back in. It goes back together very easy. Just getting that pin out. And so small orders have been shipped to the military again from around 2002 to at least 2010. Now keep in mind this is a specialized SOCOM gun, not anything like standard issue. So the numbers that the US military has are actually quite small. Since I don't have a suppressor, I've had this flash hider for it. It's really neat. Listen. I love the sound of machine steel. You can hear that in shooting videos too. It's kind of neat to use threads for something. I've had it for ages. These are of course extremely reliable. They will handle the hottest 45 cartridges known to man. No worries there. They're very durable. A civilian is never going to wear them out. The Knights suppressors that these were originally issued with were pretty effective for the '90s when the technology was introduced, but by today are quite obsolescent and still very expensive. The same thing goes for the laser aiming module, the LAM, made by Insight. Again, it was pretty modern for the day and time it was made, but today they're very obsolete and extremely expensive. And H&K for civilians and law enforcement only sells the pistol. If you want suppressors and things, you have to buy. It's also worth pointing out this rail underneath is more or less proprietary to this gun. It's not a standard pick rail, so you have to get an adapter to put something on. But when this pistol was designed, the whole Picatinny rail system, even Weaver rail system on pistols, had not really come to fruition yet. So you have to kind of give it a, little pass there. When these were introduced in the '90s for the civilian market in the US, of course they only shipped with 10-round mags because it was in the middle of the assault weapons ban, sometimes called the Clinton ban, officially known as the crime bill. After '04, guns could have high capacity mags again, so the newer batches made, like this one in 2010, come with two 12-round mags instead of two 10. Something to kind of keep in mind. It's important because these frickin' mags, like everything H&K, are very expensive. So getting a couple that are the correct size is not insignificant. Nice triggers on these. The double action is heavy for safety purposes, but smooth. The single action is quite crisp and light. It's a nice wide ribbed trigger. The only control I don't find comfortable is this decocker. Like I said, it's just so flat. It kind of, when you push it down and then it springs up, it kind of wants to rub against your finger as it springs up because it goes up with so much force, and it's pretty aggressively serrated, so it can wear on your finger if you do it several times in an afternoon, especially if your hands are cold. But the safety and everything else, quite ergonomic. And as you saw, it disassembles into large chunky parts for cleaning in the field. The only really part that's recommended for replacing are the O-rings, and those only need to be replaced every 5,000-6,000 rounds, and that's just recommended. You can get away with many more. Even if the O-ring fails, the gun's still workable. You might just lose a little accuracy. These are meant to at least be 4 MOA, so very good for a pistol. Again, offensive design, the whole concept. Yeah, I just thought we would share this. Like I said, I'm no expert, but everyone needs some modern tactical guns in their collections, I suppose. And that's really where the MK23 Mod 0 SOCOM or the Mark 23 comes into play with the importance. These led to the USP, which is essentially the same gun mechanically, but it's scaled down to more reasonable proportions. And more recently, it's led to the HK45, which is a compact version. And there's even an HK45 compact version of that called the HK45CT that the US military has started to use. It's a smaller framed version, still in 45, has several more modern features, and it has a threaded barrel with more common threads. These are kind of an unusual 16mm thread pitch. That's standard right hand, and a lot of your other guns will use left hand. So yeah, well, hope you enjoyed it. We'd love to hear who else has these ridiculous guns out there, because they are ridiculous, but they're so over the top ridiculous they are kind of cool. And they are a lot of fun to shoot. Even for me, you'd think this, because the grip's so large, it would be uncomfortable, but it's really not. The way the grip is designed, it's actually quite ergonomic, especially in single action. So yeah, appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, please post them below. If you like the video, as always, we'd appreciate a like. And if you'd like to help support us get to the range, please check out the link to our Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll catch you next time.